So in terms of a stand, what we're going to want to do is have this
Sit.
around here. So this way you can control the back half of the dog, and you have the front half here with this, right? So that this way, like if this dog's legs were paralyzed or something, we would literally, they would have to have a special little contraption here, so that way now we can pick the dog up like this. So you're just going to want to practice doing sits, downs, and then when you do the down into the stand, this is when this gets involved. Right? So let's give it a shot. Put the dog into a sit.
Sit.
Put the dog into a down.
Down. Down.
Down. And just make sure that everything about the leash is perfectly vertical.
Down.
And I want you to say stand.
Stand.
And then the most important part, because this is where the confusion happens, and the dog goes, "Whoa, that's I'm surprised," and you saw how it wanted to move around. That's when you have to really like just hold firm and just let the dog go, "Okay, gotcha. So now I'm standing," versus letting it do what it almost did, which was sit back down or lay back down.
Right.
And then it just learned a bad repetition, and we would have had a much harder time teaching this for the rest of the class, right? So every time that you do it, you really want to make sure, like, all right, on three, and you're prepared. And the most important thing is getting to know your dog, knowing that they're going to kind of move a little bit. So let's do it again.
Sit. Sit. Down.
And just to point something out, the tail's now between the legs, so you can see that teaching the dog something new, the dog's now confused, a little scared, and going, "I'm unsure." And that's why we also have to make sure that we help the dog. And it's not about force, it's just clarity.
Stand.
Stand. Perfect. Good.
Girl. Good girl.
But you guys see how you have to control the back half of the dog? Most dogs don't understand front half, back half. That's why place is so effective. Hey.
Stand.
Good job. And I want you to say break and just walk her away.
Break.
Good job. Good. Anything, I mean, you wanted to work on back, or you're working on back, you said?
I'm working on it.
So the fun part about back is you have to catch your dog in the act. It's really hard to teach your... How many of you guys have your dog on place in the living room and then the dog gets off a place and runs to you? Most of you? And it usually gets all the way to the sofa, would you say? Or do they stop, like, and check? Like, is this okay? How many of them stop and check versus just get off? What happens with yours? What happens with yours? Just goes. Yours? Even Blue just gets off and goes? When Carter gets off a place?
Okay, I just point back and he turns around and goes right back.
Nicely done. So that's the end goal. That's what we're looking for. What happens with you? What part are you
Everything. She'll go back, and she'll be like, there'll be someone walking and I can't get her to go back to place. Or she'll get off and check with me, and then I'll be off place, and she'll be all, "Dang it."
Gotcha. So I would just, for like a few specific days, go, you know what, for the next 72 hours, I really want to be strict. The same thing, it's like having a detox with a diet. If you go for the next 72 hours, I'm only going to be eating fruits and vegetables and water. After that 72, you should be able to eat healthier because you were strict for 3 days. Same thing, be super strict with the dog in terms of the specificity of the dog's going to go on place and I'm going to wait. And I know that it's going to get off. I would almost get a little notepad and write down, she got off at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and then put her back on place and go, we're at 4 minutes. I know it's coming. And the second she shows you that shoulder motion or she shifts her legs or something, that's when you go, don't even think about it. I'd rather you get to the point of don't even think about it than it gets off and then you have to go, get back, go on, get back on place. Because that's more of a negotiation.
Right.
If you're going to teach a back, I would almost back tie the dog to something in the house with a short leash, even, get a short little rope or something. And that way, when they do go to get to the edge, they feel that there's like that bungee cord almost that won't let you fall off. And that way the dog actually can't get to the edge and you've controlled it. And that way you can incorporate back and the dog's like, got it. Not allowed to go anywhere. So
it's my front fence. When people walk by, that if I'm not paying attention, Ellie and Cinder, if I'm not paying attention and all of a sudden there's someone right there, off.
She'll bolt.
They'll both. And then I'm like, off, come.
So I personally don't recommend like tying your dog to you know, like a tree and leaving it there, obviously. Like that's not how you're supposed to do it. But there are tools that you can use that ultimately could help you. The one tool, you know that metal like spike you put into the ground that's meant for like leaving your dog in the backyard on a leash? Put that in your front yard about midway through.
So they can't get to the fence.
So they can't get to the fence, and maybe put it back a little bit so that way by the time they kind of go, maybe shorten the leash a little bit, but use that tool as your back tie because it's a mobile back tie. Not everybody's gonna have a tree, but you can definitely put a spike, not for big dogs, I wouldn't recommend this, but for that, in your yard that's fenced, that's appropriate.
As long as I don't leave her there for a week.
Yeah, I mean, you're always watching her, so it gives you an extra hand because you're not always gonna be able to go, no.
Right.
You don't wanna have to run after the dog or chase the dog.
I don't want to sit there like this.
Yeah,
the whole time
it's just some extra assistance.
I'm like waiting for someone to walk by, and if I stop paying attention, of course that's when someone walks by.
The second we stop paying attention.
Yep.
All right, so I want to try that weave. We're gonna give it a go. If we have to have extra space, that's totally fine. The one thing that looked a little bit challenging is the person that's weaving is walking towards the person versus having the person in the back weave through. I think they're doing that because at least the dogs can see each other versus having a dog weave past you from behind, right? I think that would almost trigger more of a reaction. So I think that's why they're doing it that way. So rather than going with Linda's reaction of, oh, I don't know about this, we're going to maybe just space it out, but I'm gonna try exactly what they did because I think there's a reason for it. You know, you always gotta try the original before you start changing the recipe. All right, so let's line up over here. Say hello. That one's gonna wanna say hello. We got a lot of like puppy energy here today. There's not a lot of reactive. Blue's not reactive.
Oh my God. He's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
He's got nothing. He's probably the least reactive.
So then I'm gonna let you go first. And that way you can kind of be the base level here and we'll see what happens. All right, so we're going to, everyone's lined up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna probably take, let's go 20 steps before we even start. So that way you can get your dog into a heel, you can find your number, you can get the dog under control, and we can go from there. All right?
Tell me when you want me to turn around and start.
Sounds good. Everybody besides the person in the front needs to be focused on keeping their dog in a heel. I think it's actually a harder job for the people walking normally than the person walking towards weaving through. Your job is going to help her have an easier job. Your dog should be looking at you. At this point, you should be in a one step. Linda's rocking it right now. Every time she takes a step, Camus is taking a step. Synchronized walking is the goal. Great job. All right, so start to kind of slow up if you're in the back and kind of space out and just kind of, you know, give a little bit of space. You're going to make a left U-turn and then you're going to start to weave in between. Linda, keep walking straight. So see how your dog wanted to sniff, even say off for that, and you'll weave through. And just kind of really go slow. See how he wants to sniff every time you do a turn? Good. Good. And keep walking. And then get a little bit closer. I don't want it to be too far apart. What I noticed about your dog though is every time you gave a turn or you did some motion, he took the opportunity to want to sniff. He almost wanted to take that extra wide turn. Linda, when we cross the bridge, you're gonna make a left U-turn and come on through. You're good. Keep going straight. You got about 10 more steps. You're good. Right when we get to that stage, you're going to make a little U-turn. You're literally just going to go right in between. So hold hands. Good. And then you're going to keep walking straight. Good. Heel off. Walk that way around. And say off. Good. 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 So, Linda, one thing to make you feel better is, did you notice how your body was actually in between? Let's keep walking. But as you were doing that, like you were approaching, but your body was actually blocking the dog's contact for most of that. Like your dog wasn't, like it wasn't like this, where the dog and the person, you know, the
next to the dog.
no, what you did made it easier for you, and it made it easier for the dog because you were in between. I always say you want to be in between. So for instance, if I was walking and I had Camus, and I'm going here, Camus is here. Guess what? My body's blocking.
Yes.
So Camus is here, and as I'm coming through here, Camus didn't get to see the dog.
Yeah.
Now, as you're coming here, guess what? This is where you're going to have to go wide because now you're contact to contact with the dog. All right, so you can make a left U-turn. Good job. You can go on the grass a little bit. Slow up if you're in the back. Good. Good. Perfect. It is more about coordination and finding a rhythm.
Sorry, I'm keeping you. Sorry.
You're good. They're all fine.
Good girl. Good girl.
You guys are all doing it. For the most part, I only see a few dogs wanting to say hello when they approach, which is normal. If I was weaving in between you, you'd almost go, hey, good morning, hello, hello. But, you know, that's all it is the approach. They're seeing each other, so I think that's also part of the exercises. That's the distraction. All right, Lucy, make a left U-turn. You can go on the grass to cut in between them. And then make a right. Cut in front of Carter, slow up Carter's up, there you go. Good. For the most part, your dog's focused on you. Also, because you're making these left and right turns so abruptly, your dog has to focus on you.
That's what I do at home too. Good job, a-hole.
If you're in the back, slow up a little bit.
Good job,
Next,
a-hole.
you can make a left U-turn. And just see what your dog does. What is your dog doing? Good job. So that's a big dog. And if you're walking and you're not one of the people in the front, what did your dog do?
Girl. Good girl.
Nice.
Good girl.
All right, you can go. Make a left U-turn. You're up. Nice. Nicely done. Good. Nice job, Linda. The second you see that you have that like contact to contact, just make some more space. And if you two, your dogs are pretty much the same energy. So when you know like, okay, these two dogs are pretty much definitely gonna connect, that's when you just wanna prevent it from happening. The more you know the dynamic of the people in the group, it's almost like you know who you should talk to. That's what I say when you go out, you know, like you go to the bar, you're supposed to like be in the environment for a little bit before you talk to anybody. You don't just go in and start talking. You gotta like get a feel for the place. They're serious with these swords, but they got motorcycle helmets. All right, you're up, guys. Make a lap. And then just slow up. You guys already have a sandwich going on, so this should be super easy for you guys. Carter has no opportunity to do anything wrong. Although, Dick's slowing up right now, so. She goes, I got this. I got this. You got a nice poop distraction there. You guys can walk around it. Damn. popped her right on the helmet. Did you see that?
Is that next week? Dylan?
Yeah, that is next week. He'll be in charge. Look who made it. Sadie. The happiest dog in the world. I think that is the dog that they use to base the Up dog character on. It has the same face, animation. Good to see ya. So we're doing a weaving drill. So we're weaving in between. So you're gonna want to get in at the end here at the caboose.
Okay.
Hey, Sadie.
Say hey.
Somebody's got a stick ready. Yeah. Look, she is so happy to be here. It's hysterical. Some dogs, all you got to do is come. They don't even want to participate. As long as you bring them out of the house, they're so happy. Look at this thing. Sadie, are you don't get out much, do you?
Yes, she does.
Oh my goodness.
You never know what she needs.
She's that girl that goes clubbing every night, and you'd think that it's her first time out because she's having way too much fun.
Yeah, that's right. She just has
So
to
work
go.
through her excitement and go, let's go. All right, let's go. Come on, Sadie. All right, you guys can keep walking. Be mindful there's a dog off leash. Those are nice glasses. Nicely done. Good. Good. Good boy. Nicely done, nicely done. All right, Linda, whenever you're ready, you got this. Make a left. That works. There you go. So right now you have no contact. You're good. On this, that's when you're getting your dog to focus. Good. There you go. Right. We're really coordinating some things here. In and out throughout the week. You've got that lion stripe. You see that? Yeah. Nicely done. Nicely done. Good.
I mean, with her to be able to do this,
Good.
it's so tight. Like, she's doing great.
It's a confidence of speed and precision. This, I almost want to call this walking through the airport. Because 100%, if I've got my luggage and I'm walking through people, I tell you right now, I feel like I'm driving, not walking through the airport. I'm like, I'm getting to my destination. I don't have time for any of this. But that's how it should be. I don't need like a big gap. I know that I can cut in front of you and not be rude and keep moving. I gotta get somewhere. So I think that's where it kind of comes in, is if you're quick about where you're going, the dog's going, I gotta follow. We're headed to the airport. We gotta connect to our flight. So I want everyone to get a turn doing this, and then I want to switch it up, and I want to have us do it from behind. That sounded horrible.
It was Cinder.
That was a Lucy.
Good girl.
What I would do is give her the stick every now and then.
Okay.
Like throw in showing her the stick, and then being like, here you go, give it to her. And let her carry it. Let her go, all right, I'm super happy right now.
Let
But
her have it.
that's her treat.
Yeah, for being good. Come.
There are dog trainers that use things like that. They'll put them right underneath their arm,
Okay.
and the dog will end up looking up.
Oh, all right.
So,
Then she isn't always looking
this is
for
your
something
focal
on the
point.
ground. Okay.
Yeah, hey,
Like when I was birthing my children. Here, baby.
there you go. Look how happy she is.
Oh, yeah.
And she threw that thing.
Come on. Come on.
So you got this crazy thing you're walking towards. Pull your dog a little bit. Good. Good. Even if she just gets a little on it for a second.
She acts like a puppy her whole life. Well, no, you don't, don't
He's 7 or 8?
Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
was reading up on this breed and they just act like puppies their whole lives.
Your dog is one of the happiest.
Nice puppy. Nice puppy, see? Good girl.
Hey, pull her back, pull her back.
No,
Pull her back.
come.
Pull her, walk forward. Just too much heat. Pull that one a little bit, so that way he goes just where they have the freedom to get all the way over here, even with that slack, is that freedom when I'm making the turn to go this way, and then that one has also the freedom, and then they both get to say hello, and that one gets too crazy. Good. He needs to learn anything. I'm not worried about it. He does. He's gonna get that dog. I'm not going to hurt him at all. Okay, so that's good. He needs to learn. Teach him some manners. Sit.
Stay. Say hi.
Well, your dog started focusing. And you saw as the bug was looking.
Come on. Good girl, this side. How old is your puppy? Your puppy is
5
cute.
months.
Oh my goodness. Come on.
But I literally, that's why I make the comparison. If it's your wife looking at another man, or it's your husband that stared at the girls at the beach, you can't let that behavior happen because they're distracted. And we wouldn't tolerate that behavior, so why do we let our dog go, ooh, look at that dog's ass. I'm gonna go say hello. No, I'm not gonna let it happen with my dog. We'll go, hey, off, hey. And then it's a combination of, see how my arms swing? Same with yours. Yours are naturally swinging. See how it swings back? When you do the natural swing back, where it's, and I'm just naturally kind of having that backward tension. Now I'm kind of going, hey, excuse me. Hey, how's it going? And now the dog's kind of looking at us. So you incorporate that with the e-collar,
Yeah.
dog will start to look at you more.
Yeah, because I always have a problem. He wants to like.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to use the button and go, and button, and button. Yeah. And it's almost, that's your downbeat. Let's go back into the shade for just a second. Say break to them, let them kind of get to the end of the leash. If they want to lay down, that's totally fine. I tell you, it is a little toasty out today.
She says, I'm happy, I'm happy.